As soon as Vorden had entered the room and saw Quinn and the others, he tried his best to figure out what was going on. Judging by the fact the head of the first years, General Nathan, was here, suggests it was very serious. However, Vorden couldn't link him and Quinn. How had he concluded the two of them were involved in something? If someone had spotted them when they were escaping with Peter, it would make more sense for them to call Layla and Peter, not Quinn. The only thing that the two of them had done together was head to the Red Portal planet. Unknown to both of them, the thing that had linked the two together were the bite marks. It was too much of a coincidence to see bite marks on multiple students, as well as one on the Red Portal planet. The one connection they all had was Quinn. But they had their doubts it could be him, so now their number one suspect was the person who was with Quinn at the time of these events. "Please sit down," Nathan said politely. One thing was for sure, Vorden was happy that it was Nathan in the room and not Duke. After learning everything that Duke had done to try and get rid of him for some reason, Vorden would have tempted to attack him right then and there. Vorden sat down in the chair opposite the woman. While he was sitting, he would give the odd glance towards Quinn. He could see that Quinn had a worried look on his face, which meant something was going to happen that he wouldn't like. "Now, we're just here to ask you a few questions, Vorden. Simple, right?" Nathan said with a smile. Usually, Vorden was quite good at reading people, but for some reason, Nathan creeped him out with that smile, because it was nearly impossible for him to tell if it was genuine or not. "But I warn you to answer truthfully now, for our beautiful woman here can catch your lie in an instant." Suddenly, Vorden realized why Quinn was fidgeting so much and why he looked so worried. They were questioning Vorden about some type of event. Had they found out what he was and just wanted him to confirm it, or did it have something to do with Peter? The problem was Vorden himself didn't know how much information Quinn had revealed. The woman then held out her hand for Vorden to touch it. While the two of them touched each other's hand, Vorden had copied the woman's abilities, but he didn't know how it worked, and it wasn't something he could figure out right now. If he could, perhaps there was a way he could use it against her. "Did you have anything to do related to the death of the student named Earl Hampton?" she asked. Vorden didn't answer immediately because he was trying to think. Hearing that name, Vorden finally knew why they had called him. He didn't know why Quinn had been asked to come here, or what Quinn had said, but the best thing to do now was to lie and not get caught. All Vorden could do was hope that Quinn had done the same. The teachers had made one mistake before interrogating Vorden, and that was telling him the abilities of the female in front of him. If her ability worked similarly to the lie detectors of the past, then as long as the person answering believed their answer, or if they didn't know the answer, then it would still be seen as the truth. Although Vorden was there, the same couldn't be said for Sill. He couldn't rely on Rayton because Rayton often stood by Vorden's side when he was on the chair watching everything he did while criticizing and advising him. But it was different for Sill. Sill spent most of his time sleeping in the room or just sitting in the back staring blankly in front of him. This was the only option he had, and he hoped it would work. He closed his eyes and left the chair. As he did, he walked over towards Sill, who was in a fetal position rocking backwards and forwards like he usually did. "Sill, there's some lady who wants to ask you some questions," Vorden said. "All you need to do is answer them, and then we can go play." "Play?" Sill replied, staring at Vorden. "Yeah, Quinn is in the room as well, and they asked him the same question. So I need you to do the best you can to answer for me now, okay?" Whenever Vorden spoke to Sill, he would speak in a slow, patient voice, like a mother did while talking to their child. This was because Sill's mind was quite childlike. One wrong word could set him off on a tantrum. Usually, parents were stronger than their kids, though, and if this were to happen, they could control them. But in this case, Sill was both stronger than Rayton and Vorden, so they always had to speak to Sill very carefully. "Okay, and then Quinn and I can play together, right?" Sill asked. "Yeah, but maybe only for a little bit, okay?" Vorden replied. Sill sat there as if he was thinking about it. Meanwhile, outside Vorden's mind, "If you don't reply, Vorden, we have to take your silence as a confession that you were involved somehow," Nathan said. Just as Vorden was about to give up and go back into the chair, Sill replied. "Deal," Sill said with a smile on his face. Sill stood up and ran over to the chair with a smile on his face. Back outside, Sill was happily smiling away, looking at the people around him. When he spotted Quinn, he started to wave. Quinn found the actions weird, especially when they were in a tough situation like this. This behavior was unlike how Vorden usually acted. Still, Quinn decided to wave back, which put an even bigger smile on Sill's face. "You have a question for me?" Sill said, pointing at himself. Even the woman was a little taken aback by the change in attitude, but decided to press on. She repeated the question and asked again. "No, I wasn't there," Sill replied. "I don't even know who this Earl is. The only person I know is Quinn," Sill said, pointing in Quinn's direction. The woman continued to ask questions that Nathan had presented, and Sill continued to answer in a naive, childlike manner. "He's telling the truth. Not a single time did either of them lie." Nathan then went to adjust the glasses on his face, a habit of his when he was stressed out. "Maybe we do have a beast roaming around the school." Nathan then looked at the two of them. His gut feeling was telling him something was wrong. But it was impossible. The woman's ability was telling them they were looking in the wrong direction. "You two stay here for now," Nathan said. "We're going to keep you here for a while and pull up some people who were around the scene at the time, see if anyone spotted you there too." "Huh? But we already answered your questions," Quinn complained. "Look, if you're not guilty, then you have nothing to worry about, right?" Nathan replied. "All I ask is that you stay here a little longer." With that, most of the sergeants had left the room to try and gather more information. The only ones left inside were Faye and the woman. Now that the two of them were no longer under interrogation, they were free to sit on the couch and relax together. Right now, Faye was busy looking over some documents with the woman, while the two boys were sitting next to each other. But while doing so, Sill couldn't help but keep smiling at Quinn. Vorden, are you okay?" Quinn asked. Sill then turned his head to the left and right to check if anyone was nearby, before placing his hand over his mouth and whispered, "Oh, I'm not Vorden. My name is Sill." "Will you calm the heck down?" Rayton shouted. Vorden was continuously pacing up and down as he saw Sill take control of the seat in the black room. It was a rare occurrence. Sill usually came out in times of danger, and even then, once the danger was over, he would return to his dark corner. Yet for some reason, Sill seemed to be slightly changing ever since Vorden had first met Quinn. Vorden liked the change and thought Quinn would eventually be a good influence on him, but now was not the time. They were in a tense situation, and Quinn had enough on his mind. Vorden could do nothing but stand there. He was afraid if he was to approach Sill, he might freak out and remain in control the whole time. "Vorden, are you okay?" Quinn whispered back. Sill quickly shook his head rapidly. "I told you, my name is Sill. I've been waiting to meet you, Quinn." Quinn did not know how to react to this. He calmed down and started to think. How did Vorden manage to escape the interrogation with the woman? Was it something to do with his power, or something entirely different? Right now, Vorden was claiming to be a different person.
Hi, Quinn here. Wondering what happens next? If you want to jump the queue and unleash all episodes, click on the link here and install the Pocket FM app.